Hi everybody, this is a little bit of a tutorial on how to develop in Python right on your Android phone and see results all with the Android phone. But it's going to be difficult without a PC, and we'll get into that. But it was not very easy to set this up, and that's why I'm making this video. I'm new at this, and I don't want to forget how I set this up. If I need to get a new phone for some reason, I'm going to have to set this all up again, and I need a reference. So I figured I would make a video for my own benefit as well as everybody else out there who's trying to do Python on Android. Okay, so the applications that I chose, by the way, this is just a regular Android phone as far as I know. I got it used. It's a 4G LTE Android phone, and other than that I don't know anything about it, and I don't really care. It suits me fine. Okay, so QPython for one, and here you can see I've got QPython 3 and QPython, so that I believe is QPython 2 and this is QPython 3. The thing is that there's two different Python languages now. The new high fidelity stuff to get into is Python 3, but there's not as much documentation on it and not as much support, so people keep doing Python 2 for whatever reason. But Python 3 is more powerful. And so I've got Python 3, QPython 3 here. And I didn't open the console. I actually opened up a script editor. This is a text editor to enter in code and open up scripts that I've already got working on. Here's the most recent one that I was working on, is a drop-down menu that's in a GUI. And that's where things get really tough with this, because if you go download QPython 3 and try to get any kind of a GUI working, it doesn't work. Even tkinter, if you try to include tkinter, if you try to import tkinter just straight away into QPython, or in a script made with QPython, it doesn't work. It says tkinter is not defined. And so that module is simply not there. If we take a look at the library, everything's missing. I'll go to my folders and go to the library. This is the lib folder for, like, normally if you download Python and you're working on Python on a PC, you've got your lib folder, and that's where all your modules are that come with Python. And here I've got Python 3, Python 2, and if I go into here, these are really small folders with almost nothing in them. The library is basically empty. There's like nothing here. For Python 3, I haven't even looked in Python 2 because I'm not really focusing on that, but it looks like there's a lot more in Python 2, but still the kind of an empty library, not very much in here in comparison to the library folder that comes with Python for PC. So I'm not sure why that is. Again, I'm a complete noob at this, but that's just something that I had to deal with, and that's definitely not the last thing to this. It's not just go get QPython. We have other problems. Okay, so Kivy is another app we have here. This is the Kivy launcher. It's not like if you went and downloaded Kivy for the PC. And what Kivy is, now please bear in mind I'm a complete novice, so you're going to hear this in layman's terms. But this packages your QPython 3 script. It packages it up so that the GUI will work on the Android. And that way you don't even need a PC to develop. You can develop your scripts with QPython 3, and then you launch them with this Kivy launcher, and it makes the GUI work. Now, I wish it was that simple, but the problem is when I tried to do this, that's what I read online, and I went and tried to do that, and it wasn't that easy. I ended up having to read quite a bit before I found the instructions I was looking for was on the Kivy page. They gave instructions to have a folder, in a Kivy folder, and you make a main.py file and put it in your Kivy folder. And that main.py, when you launch this Kivy launcher, like I started making this truck quote version 1.0. I made a program that calculates how much a small rental truck costs if you include mileage and truck cost and gas with a fully loaded truck based on the distance that you're traveling. So like it's a calculator for a small U-Haul truck or similar type company truck to rent. So you know how much money you would need in order to rent said truck to do a trip. You want to know what the total cost is. That's what my little program here does. But the Kivy launcher normally comes up completely empty and it says there's no projects here to open. And so you have to, and it tells you here that it says the Kivy launcher, when that opens up, it says you should have a Kivy folder. And it says on your SD card. Okay, let's go look at my folders, because it wasn't there. I went to where it told me to go. It told me to go to that location, SD card 0. I went to SD card 0 and there was no Kivy folder. So I finally, just out of almost giving up, I made the folder myself here in folders on my Android folders. This is just what came with the phone, my file manager. So that's like I made the folder in here. I didn't make the folder anywhere else, and it didn't make itself. The folder just didn't exist. So this Kivy folder, I made this folder inside Android's file manager. And then inside of there, I made my Kivy folder because because each project's going to have its own main.py, maybe some images, maybe some other py files that it references to. So a project is a folder. It's not just, it's not like your script in Python is going to always be one file. And since it's sometimes a group of files, you need to make a folder, and then that folder is a project folder. And so inside my Kivy folder, I've got my Kivy folder, so it's like my first project. I don't have anything to name it because I'm just getting started with my first GUI. That thing I was telling you about, the truck quote thing, that thing that calculates truck cost, is a command line. So this is my first GUI, and there's the main.py right there. Main.py is inside my Kivy folder, which is inside of Kivy, which I had to create. Let's see if I can get that again. It's inside my Kivy, which is inside of Kivy, which was that's the required one. That second one in Kivy, that has to be made by somebody, and it didn't make itself. And so that was what was really hanging me up. And I couldn't get this working. I've been working on this for 2 or 3 days, and couldn't get it working. And so without further ado, I put it under this name still. That's another thing. Here, let's go ahead and take a look at that really quick. Is that when I launch this, it's going to launch my GUI, but it's calling it the wrong thing. It's calling it truck quote version 1.0 still. That was my other project. And the reason why is because of this. There's 2 things it requires. It requires some code, and it also requires a text file to be in that folder. Let's go down to that folder. I gotta remember where I'm going. Oh yeah, that's right, Kivy. And then inside of there, we'll find this android.txt. Okay, so I actually, because I'm like an old school computer nerd, when I was told to make this and what to put in it from some website on my, on the internet, I actually made the text file on my PC, and then I just quickly uploaded it to Google Drives and then downloaded it here, because that was easier than making a text file on my Android. I'm such a novice and old school with these smartphones that I making a text file, I think I have a program or an app on here that makes text files, but I didn't want to deal with it. I simply opened up Notepad on a PC and typed what they told me to type. Oh, there it is. Polaris Office 5 is what happens to be on here for my text editor. But this is not a Pi file. This is a text file. And what to put in here, I was told what to put in here by a website. Let's see, it was at the Kivy website. And I looked up... I honestly don't remember. It was on the Kivy website. It tells you the requirements and how to set it up, basically. And it's this is only one of a few of the requirements. You're required to make this text file, and you stick it in that Kivy folder. It has to be in the same Kivy folder as the main.py. And this text file is basically going to be... Let's see if I can maybe look it up real quick, because I don't remember. Kivy.org. Uh-oh. It misheard me, so I'm going to have to fix that. Okay. I hope this goes quickly. I don't know how long this video's been going, and I don't want to make it too long, but let's see here. I'll try first just going to the download, because it might that's probably where I started. Oh yeah, that is where it is, because check this out. You go to Kivy and then you go to download, and then down here I went to Android. These are all the operating systems. Up here is Windows operating system. We got Mac operating system. I know this doesn't come up on my webcam very well, but there's Windows, there's Mac. We've got Linux, Ubuntu, Fedora. Here, way down here, this little green icon, that's Android. So that's saying for Android, you want to do this. And so here's the Kivy launcher. That's an app for your Android. And then this thing says APK. When I downloaded it, it seemed to replace the Kivy launcher. It asked if I wanted to overwrite Kivy Launcher with the APK. And it's in parentheses, so I guess they're the same thing. Whatever. I said, yes, fine, overwrite it, and it still works. But I don't think you need to do... I think either one you do will be fine. And then also, we've got more than that. These columns are labeled file, so this is the file you download for that launcher. And then this is labeled instructions at the top. So you've got your file column over here, and you've got your instructions column, and that's where I found the instructions for the Android. Good thing, too, because not all of them have documentation. All right. So there we go. And then it says, you'll have to have this. Okay, so here's where we get into that. Your application should be a directory, which is a folder. You have to have a folder. A directory is a folder. A folder is a directory. These are synonyms. Your application should be a directory containing, and then there's some code. And then the file android.txt has to contain that code and some other stuff that you should read here about what's going on. So this is the toughest part about getting this all working, was creating the Kivy folder on the Android phone. After I created the Kivy folder, I made a subfolder for my project. I needed 2 files in there, main.py. This is my main application. And then I've got my main Python application. And then I've also got to have a text file in there called android.txt. And I believe it was Android with a lowercase. Not that I don't know if it matters, case sensitive or not. Android.txt, lowercase. And you put that in there too. and main.py was all lowercase too. And so here's what I've got so far for my first GUI. It's pretty simple. I mean, like, bear in mind, I just got started. I've been working on getting GUIs working, not building GUIs. I don't know anything about building GUIs yet. This right here was taken from an example off their website that I couldn't get working for the last 2 days. The only way to get it working was to do all this finagling I've been telling you guys about. And so this isn't something I wrote. This GUI right here, this is something that came in an example, and I'm about to start messing with. Oop. Wake up, phone. Okay, so... okay, I guess I gotta launch it again. There's this hello button. And then what we have here is a drop-down menu of different options. And if I click one, it says value 7 because I clicked on value 7. I can choose a different one like value 2, and it says value 2 down there at the bottom. And so it's a drop-down menu GUI. And that's all I can tell you at that point. Like, I've got a lot to learn. I'm about to go in here and start tinkering with the code for different values, and then trying to put some functionality behind these buttons, and I'm anxious to see what I can start doing. Anyway, so this again has just been a reference for me to know how to set this up thus far, how to get it to the point where I can develop Python. Here's that drop-down script, by the way. It's not very long. We've got the Kivy. I'm importing like crazy from the Kivy thing. And then here it's creating the drop-down, and then there's like button. I don't know. I've got a lot to learn. I see some width and height information there. I don't know what lambda means. Makes me think of Revenge of the Nerds, old 80s movie. And yeah, so anyway, well, I guess that's everything I can tell you in this video, because I don't know anything more about this yet. I'm also new to Python as well. So good luck coding out there. I hope this helps some people out, because it sure was giving me problems for the last 3 days, and I'm very excited to have gotten this working so I can geek out writing code on my phone and then seeing the results on my phone and not needing a PC. Oh, by the way, one more quick thing on that note. I did need something on the PC. I had to go, because it didn't come with this on the phone. I had to go to Kivy. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Kivy.org. Okay, so I had to go to Kivy and download it on my PC. So here's Windows right here. Up on the top is Windows. I went to the file and actually downloaded Windows. It says Windows 32, and then right below it says Windows 32. So I'm guessing there's no 64-bit, or that's a typo for the second one, might be a typo. But I think they're just both 32. And oh, I see, there's the difference right there. This is Kivy 2.7, and this is Kivy Pi 3.3, which is interesting because I thought I was programming in Pi 3, and I might be working in 2. So I'll have to check out my versions. But just to zoom in real quick, you got Kivy 2 on the top for Pi 2, and for Pi 3 on the bottom. And this is for Windows. This is not what I downloaded for my phone, obviously. This is for my PC. And so what I needed this for was so that I could go to the examples folder. I don't know anything about Kivy or Python, really, and I'm learning. So I needed some examples to learn from. And if you go to your Kivy folder, inside of your Kivy folder, you go to Kivy, I'm sorry, inside the folder that was downloaded. Whatever you downloaded, so I downloaded Kivy-1.8.0-Pi3.3. So I did get Pi 3, Windows 32. And this is a Windows 64 computer, and yet 32 is running fine. So if you didn't know that, that's totally backwards compatible. You can run Windows 32 stuff on a 64 computer and it's no problem, just not the other way around. And so inside of your Kivy download, you'll find a Kivy folder. Inside of that Kivy folder, you'll find an examples folder. Inside of that is a ton of folders of examples. And I went to the very near the top is Android. There's 3D rendering at the very top, and then the first folder starting with an A is Android, and inside of there is compass and take a picture. So this is where I started looking at some examples that I wanted to start learning a little bit more about this. And so that's why I actually ended up downloading the Windows version as well. But so far, most of my development has been right on the phone, out on the go as I take my son out and about and to shopping and to the park and everything. I've just been doing this, geeking out on my phone completely. Solely done on the phone, other than looking up these two examples I showed you. So this is all pretty exciting to me. I hope it is to you too. Thanks a lot for watching.